algorithms. Now, for our machine learning algorithms are, sorry, give me a minute. Our machine learning algorithms are heavily built on the mathematical side of things. Our algorithms are built off math, linear algebra, right? Um, Probability, covariant metrics. These are just a few that I would mention in this class. So if we're not familiar with math and statistics, it is something that you have to build. You have to build your knowledge in it. Because, for example, if you're using a machine learning algorithm, you need to know how this machine learning algorithm was even brought about in the first place, right? You need to know what is happening in the back end. You might not necessarily need to use that exact math to build your model, but it's very important that you have that idea of, what is happening at the back, so that you can use that to even find if there are any errors or anything is not working well. It's just like, for example, with math, right? You have a calculator that helps us to be able to add and subtract and divide easily. But there's also the aspect where we can use our hand and add numbers together. So that's basic. That's the same concept. Yes, we have the machine learning algorithms that have already done the whole math for us, but knowing how to do it by ourselves, could also be a form of beneficial help for us. I'm going to pause here, and I'm going to call on Mrs. Elizabeth so that she could give us one or two words briefly. Elizabeth, are you on here? Elizabeth?
Hello, Judith.
Yes.
All right. So sorry about I'm here. I'm here. Hello, everyone. Are you enjoying the session?
Yes, very well. We're enjoying.
All right.
Yes, I'm
I'll
enjoying the session.
just come in and
Yes, we
Yes,
are.
we are.
do
Yes, we are.
I might not be getting all 100% scholarship. Now, for attending this what's it called, masterclass, you are entitled to scholarship, whether it is up to 100 or not to 100. Now, basically, want to run you through how to get started while you are learning this thing. In between, what you need to do, how to take advantage of the scholarship opportunity that we're offering you. I'd like to share my screen. Judith, is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. All right. Please let me know if you can see my screen, everyone.
Yes.
All right. This will just take 10 minutes, so I don't, or less than that, so I don't, disturb your class. So from what Judith has said, now we are wondering, so how do I get started? How do I learn some of these things that she's saying? How do I become perfect and start working here? I would typically recommend enrolling in a certified training institution, and some of the things that you should look out for, we recommend you look out for when they are trying to learn something like this, is if they have access to training professionals, and if these professionals are good at what they do. Judith is one of our facilitator. She takes the data science part of our program, right? You also need to know if your facilitator understands the principles guarding the data science course you're about to take. Now, when it comes to learning or getting into tech, there are a lot of trial and errors that go on, especially when you try to do it on your own. If you were on the main call, you'd have heard me saying something about how I transitioned. And one of the things that I took note of was trying certain things, because I was doing it on my own, trying certain things and making mistakes until I had to get registered in a boot camp. You learn from the mistakes that Judith has done in the past. She has already done all of these things, and now she knows better. You do not need to take your time going in circle trying to learn some of these things when you have somebody that is experienced, that has gone over it and can help you navigate your way around it. A mentor, that brings us to having a mentor, a coursemate. Your coursemate, you cannot overemphasize. Sorry, I'm trying to rush my way through this. You cannot overemphasize the importance of having coursemates, because you need people, especially when you are breaking into tech. You need people that would share resources with you, opportunities, tell you what is going on, what is working, honest feedback. What is working now? You need to understand that. and most importantly, a certificate that is internationally recognized. So you can use the certificate and then you learn or get a job outside of Nigeria. Luckily, at Jupiter Academy, we are partnered with CPD UK as a continuous professional learning, professional development partner with CBD UK. So with that, with our certificate, you can work anywhere. So our data science mastery class, yes, some things you learn when you enroll for or when you get a scholarship. You get a solid understanding of what data science is and how to apply them. You learn how to acquire, explore, and pre-process data, be able to perform exploratory data analysis. You understand the entire data science processes from collecting to visualizing to modeling to telling a good story with your data. You learn programming and tools. You make prediction using machine learning algorithm. You communicate findings to stakeholders to help them make profits. You learn how to position yourself for job opportunities as data scientist and build your portfolio. Now, I will tell you this because I've seen this happen several times. If you pay 4 times of the fee you have to pay if you get a partial scholarship, I can assure you that you will get as much value anywhere else. So where they might be paying let's say 400 to 500K for this course, the value you'll be teaching them is the same thing you'll be getting here. At the end of the course, you are able to confidently get started. You do not just learn, you learn and you do. You have an accountability partner that is ensuring that you are staying on track. It is easy to be gingered when you are starting out, but most times it's usually difficult for you to earn. So it is not the typical online course where you just take the course and you are all relaxed, right? So our data science classes for 8 weeks, it is 100% virtual. We designed it as such that you are able to take it at your pace. Now, we have live classes on Saturdays, but from Monday to Friday, there are courses on your LMS. The LMS is your learning management system where you need to take this course and ensure that you do your weekly assignment. Like I said, it is not just one of those courses where you just learn. You must do assignments. You must practice what it is that you are learning. If you do not do your assignment for that week, you cannot proceed to the next. Mind you, you can join the virtual class, but at the end, you are unable to take your certificate because you need to have finished all of the videos and you need to have submitted all of your, what's it called, all of your assignments. Now, a live session is usually minimum of 90 minutes, maximum of 2 hours, right? There's a Slack community where you can always interact with your facilitator. If you need help, you can always reach out to the Slack community, the private Slack community. Now, this is not for you. As much as I really want to see you get started, this is not for you if you are the lazy type. So if you are not able to spoil yourself and challenge yourself to get something done, then you most likely wouldn't benefit from this. Now, it's not for you if you cannot follow instruction. Some of the things that we started, mute your mic, do all of these things, you need to follow instruction. You need to finish your classes, do your assignment, those are instructions. And if you are able to do that, you just might not be qualified to take this. And if you are comfortable taking food off your table, now if you are comfortable where you are, you do not see the need to grow or do better, then this course is definitely not for you. Now, what would you be learning when you are enrolled in data science? If you get the scholarship or you get the partial scholarship, the 60% scholarship, right? So for week 1, you get to learn introduction to data science and its application, understanding data science process and life cycle, basics of Python programming for data science, introduction to Jupyter Notebook, overview of data types, variable and basic operations. And week 2, you are learning data manipulation and cleaning. Now look at some of the things that you'll be learning. Loading, exploring, and summarizing data sets, data cleaning, handling missing values, data transformation. Week 3, you are learning how to visualize the data. So you are learning creating various types of plots and charts, communicating insight through effective visualization. Week 4, you are learning exploratory data analysis, the techniques, the importance, how to handle anomalies, outliers, exploring relationship between variables. Week 5 is statistical foundation for data science. Week 6, machine learning basics. Week 7, regression and classification. Now, there are a lot of things all right? But I wouldn't want to waste our time, right? So week 8, this is where you get to work on real world data science projects. Now you are applying everything that has been learned, um, from data collection to visualizing, modeling needs. You have individual or group projects based on your facilitator. Now you are able to present your project, get feedback from that. You learn how to position yourself for job. You learn how some CV and LinkedIn revamp tips. Now, again, for 8 weeks, 100% virtual, 90-minute session per class with a certificate that is recognized everywhere, right? Now, there are bonuses. That's not all. So I mentioned the mentorship, CV revamp, and portfolio building, the certification you get, and a possibility of internship. Now, one of our best graduates, it's the internship placement is only for our best graduating students. Now, we've had one of our best graduating students that was supposed to speak with you to tell you his progress and how we got started, how we got his internship, and how he was able to build a portfolio afterwards. And he's currently getting a full job now that he's done with his 3 month scholarship. Typically, you would have said, oh, this would go for 400K, considering the value that you'll be getting. But I'm not even telling you to pay 400,000. Now, let's break it into 250. You don't even need to pay that. Even if we take it further to 150K, I'm not saying you should pay that, right? Our courses typically go for 100,000 naira. Now, if you are getting the full scholarship, know that we are paying 100,000. You need to be consistent with it. For those that might not be getting it, all right, there's more for everyone. So if you're on this call currently, you have a 60% scholarship. If you do not get the 100% scholarship, right, and this is valid, this is valid 29th of November. If you would love to get started with this, it's valid 29th of November. If you get the partial scholarship, you only have to pay 40,000 naira to take the course with all of the things you'll be learning, right? Learning data collection, getting started. Now, one of the most amazing things is that data science is one course that we've had a lot of people give positive reviews. People that do not have any experience with programming and data science, at the end of the day, are able to take the course and they learn a lot. I can tell you that Judith takes her time. I've seen her teach, and it is something she's very passionate about. If you are starting out in data science, it is one course that you would, once you are done, you would confidently say, I have taken a course and I am confident to get started. That's one of our aim, right? And for various data scientists that have taught, we've invited to come share their experience and come teach people, just like how we do with our weekly webinar. They've seen our course outline and they can assure that it is such a very tight, well-curated curriculum that at the end, typically, you should be able to be confident to get started. All right. So if you are interested in this, I'm going to share a link with you shortly, and just fill it, and I'll get back to you. Basically, Judith.
Right, Elizabeth, thank you so much for that. That very detailed breakdown on what Jupiter Academy can offer you, especially if you're looking to venture into the data science aspect. I hope that we'll be able to pick one or two things at least from the presentation that she gave. Now we're going to just a bonus point. At the end of this presentation, we have a few questions. Let's just say a very brief assessment, right? And if you're able to complete that assessment first, right, and you have scored everything right, you have the possibility of getting a 100% scholarship for the data science program at Jupiter Academy. So obviously our assessment is going to be based off the bootcamp or the workshop that we have right now. So put that in mind and look forward to the end of this program. Now let's continue back with our.
I'm sorry, Judith. I have a couple of questions I needed to attend. I would be attending to. Now, if you're interested in what I've said so far, right? I've just dropped a link. It's an inquiry link. Just fill it, and I personally would have a chat with you so we don't distract this or disrupt the class. I'll be back again towards the end of the class. Please, what are the platforms through which one can get the certificate? Jupiter Academy. So you get started first with Jupiter Academy. You will be able to get our certificate at the end of the program. And the certificate is sponsored or supported by CPD, Continuous Professional Development UK, and we're a partner with them. This means that you can even get jobs outside of Nigeria. And even if you invest this token, right, at the end, let's say 2-3 months back or into the world of data, you're able to even get your money back, right? So let me leave Judith. Sorry, I've taken much of your time. Please, I'll leave now. See you guys again when I'm back.
All right. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you so much. So let's go back to our presentation. Let me share my screen. You have Justin, you have a question? Justin. Okay. So we stopped at machine learning, right? Okay, we stopped at statistics. So we're moving over to the machine learning side of things. Now, for machine learning, we've been speaking on it for a while now. And there are certain machine learning algorithms that is very essential for data science as a whole. Now, for example, we have like decision tree, random forest, linear regression, classification, different. There are over 10 to 15 different type of machine learning algorithm, and this is the essential part of entire data science because this is where we convert that information from historical data to use it to predict. So remember what I said, how we have historical data, we have our machine learning algorithms, and then we now have our output, which is our our forecast or our prediction. So building this machine learning algorithm is one of the core concepts of data science. And obviously, taking the course and all of that, you would get exposed to building a machine learning model. Now we have data wrangling. Data wrangling is a very important part of data science, or a skill that is very important. Why? Because it involves cleaning and preparing your data sets. Now, it's just like cooking. Imagine you go to the market and you want to maybe cook vegetable soup, and you buy vegetable. It's not cut, oh, it's not washed, nothing has been done to the vegetable. In fact, let's imagine you go to the farm, it's still in the ground, you've not even cultivated it, not to talk about washing it or chopping it, and you just have your vegetable inside the soil. In itself, you cannot really use it for anything. You cannot really use it to get your vegetable soup. So data wrangling is basically the process of cultivating your vegetable, cutting it, washing it, doing every preparation that you need to be able to cook that vegetable soup. So if you don't have your data wrangling done properly, it would affect every other thing that is going to happen. So it's the core basis of data science in itself. It might be a small portion, but it's a very intensive portion. And another key note is that data wrangling, which is basically the cleaning and preparing of data sets, it takes about 80% of your time because it is very intensive. It might seem like what is there in cleaning, but I promise you, if you don't have a clean data set, you don't have a data set, you don't have anything at all. Now, communication is also very important because what's the idea for this entire data science or data analysis is to be able to solve a business problem, right? So if you cannot communicate your results or your findings to your stakeholders, that's a bit of an issue. So building your soft skills, your presentation skills, your all of these aspects, soft skills that come into communication is a very important aspect of data science. So this is the soft skill aspect of it. You don't require, coding or anything here, but you require the ability to be able to speak properly, to be able to relay your information properly to your stakeholders. For example, you might have stakeholders that don't know anything about tech or don't know anything about coding. And being able to assess this type of stakeholders is very important. For example, if you're working with people like that, you cannot come and be using grammatical terms that they don't understand, right? You have to be able to break down those heavy terms, those heavy things that you have done into the simplest form for them to be able to understand. What way can we do that? Through using charts. Many people understand graphs, faster than they can understand words. If I see a picture, I'll be able to tell what's happening there faster than when I read words about it. So charts are one way, or pictorial representations are one way to be able to convey things to our stakeholders easily. And now another thing is what domain knowledge, understanding the industry context. Remember in the application of data science, we spoke about different industries. We know we have the healthcare, banking and finance, e-commerce, airline industry. Data science can be used in any industry we find ourselves. But one thing that's very important is domain knowledge. What's domain knowledge? In the knowledge of that industry that you are in. So let's say, for example, you want to be a data scientist in the healthcare industry. Having that knowledge about the way healthcare works. No one is saying go and get a medical degree, but having that back end knowledge on the healthcare system, diseases, whatever is involved in healthcare, having that knowledge is very important because it even helps you to have a better grasp of how to build a model to fix whatever problem that they're facing in that situation or in that space, right? So domain knowledge is extremely important. Now we have data science lifecycle. This is pretty much the flow of data in data science self, the flow of data from conception to birth, which means from beginning to the end. Now, what's the first thing that we need to do when we get a data set? We have to define the problem. That's this one right here, defining the problem. If we don't have a problem to solve, then there's no need for data science, right? There is no need because what are we doing invariably? We're solving a business problem. So imagine that we have um, a company and they want to reduce their churn rates. What is churn rates? Just imagine churn as number of people that are unsubscribing, let's say from a subscription. But let's imagine we have maybe a Netflix subscription and we have so many people that are unsubscribing after every month. Now, churn is the number of people that are obviously leaving the business. And the problem is that we have too many people that are leaving this business. And the company is like, okay, data science team, oh, please, this is the problem that we're having. Come and solve what this problem is, right? And what's the idea? They want to improve the retention. And by improving their retention, they're obviously increasing their revenue because the people are leaving the company, money is also going out the pockets. Now, what's the next step that we have to do when we get that? We have to collect our data. So we need to now gather relevant data that is associated with, maybe this Netflix subscription. What could that be? Our customer demographics. We could have things like basic data about our customers, name, age, salary, number of people that use the Netflix account, um, number of hours that they're streamed, number of users signed up to a particular account, different type of information like that. Maybe their customer service interaction. Have they interacted with customer service? Have they had any issues before? Was it resolved? What was the speed at which it was involved? It was resolved. So information like this, and basically churn data about or churn information about past customers. So let's imagine we had a customer that is about maybe 26 years old and he was subscribed for maybe a 1 year subscription. He paid for a 1 year subscription and he spent about maybe $50 for this subscription, and his income is maybe about $1,000 per month. He has had 2 complaints with customer service. His loyalty score is, let's say, 75, and now this customer left the business, right? So that is a churn column that says whether this customer left or went. Remember that we're collecting data from things that have happened in the past to use it to predict a future occurrence. Now, the next thing about that is our data cleaning. Like I said, data cleaning is very, very essential. We want to ensure that we have a clean data set, right? What does that involve? Handling missing values, correcting errors. We might have even spelling errors that are not correct. We might have duplicate data because sometimes if we're not working with um, information that has already maybe been imputed by the computer, we might be working with data entry. Somebody sitting in one office, I might be typing, the information. Obviously, they are bound to human errors. So we could have misspelled words and things like that. We could also have words, for example, someone could spell one thing as Brooklyn. Let's not even use a hard word. Someone could spell dress as DRESS. Another person will spell it as DRES. Another person will spell it as DREZ. Everything is representing the word dress, but we have different spellings in there. So we have to correct that to one uniform spelling. So these are ideas of data cleaning that we have to do. Then there's the exploratory data analysis, which comes after our data cleaning. And what happens here? We were trying to understand patterns in our data sets, right? We're looking at correlation, we're looking at trend, we're looking at factors that are contributing to certain things. So for example, we can now create a chart that shows the distribution of maybe our usage pattern and identifying maybe churn rates with that. Let me explain that. So, for example, we could say that customers that we could see from our chat that customers that subscribe or maybe log into the Netflix account maybe once in a month, those ones they leave the business fast. So if we have a customer that logs in maybe 30 times in a month, they stay longer in they renew their subscription. Meanwhile, those ones that log in maybe once or twice in a month, they often, leave the business. So these are ideas of patterns that we could find when we're doing exploratory data analysis because it heavily relies on, our charts, like we're talking about, our visualization, line graph, bar charts, box plots, scatter plots, different type of charts, right? Then we have the feature engineering. Feature engineering just pretty much involves creating a new column based off an existing column. And it's essential for us to do that sometimes because it might just help us to enhance our predicting abilities. This side is a lot more technical, so I won't go much into that, but know that there's a section called feature engineering. And then there's the modeling, which is our star boy. Now, this is where we now build that model that helps us to be able to forecast. Now, we're building a predictive model, and we can use different algorithms like what? Logistics regression, linear regression, random forest, decision tree, support vector machine, different type of machine learning algorithms that we can use. And these different types are very specific for different type of data sets that we're working with, right? Then there's the evaluation section, right? And this evaluation section works on seeing how well our model is working. Because for anything that you do, you need to be able to evaluate that this thing is working properly or it's not working properly. So we have this is where we test the accuracy of what we have built. Now, if we test it and we see that it's good, let's imagine that we have an accuracy of over 80%, and the company decides that that is a good enough number we can work with. We now deploy. What does deployment involve? It can now involve like using this system we've built in a real-time situation. So for example, now we can now take in new customer data that we have and feed it in there and now predict whether this customer will leave the business or will still stay in the business. If the model has told us that this customer will leave the business, we can now reach out to them even before they plan to leave and give them different incentives to keep them around. Maybe give them a sort of discount, give them a sort of, encouragement, anything. That's where now falls in, the business line of things. That doesn't really have much to do with us. We've done the major work, which is saying that this particular customer is going to churn. Now take proactive actions or take proactive measures to be able to keep them or stop them from that. And then there's the monitoring and maintenance, because anything that you build, you need to keep, monitoring it. It's just like, for example, updating our, iOS or our operating system. It's something you always keep having to, monitor and make sure it keeps running well over time. So this is the idea of data science lifecycle from when we get a business problem to the end point of our data science. Now, in conclusion, for everything that we've said, we've seen here that we've covered a lot about data science and what it entails. And we know that it starts by understanding a business problem. And we can see that data science can be used in so many aspects of so many fields and so many, companies in today's world. And we're not just talking about the theory of it, we're looking at how it can be applied in real life situations based off the examples that we gave in the application of data science section. And just to wrap up everything, we can see that data science is not just about numbers or formulas. One thing about data science is that it involves critical thinking. Don't just think, oh, I'm good in math, I can handle it. If you cannot think and try and foresee an issue, then you might struggle a bit because it will test different aspects of you. Being able to solve problems, problem solving, because you might have a problem that I promise you is not even a big thing, but you're struggling in it. It might be the tiniest thing, and you're finding yourself struggling. It's never even the big things that you're going to find have issues with. It's usually the smallest things, right? And there's also the adapting part of data science because there are always new materials that are coming up, new aspects or new ways of doing things. So you always have to be up to date with current trends in the market, especially in the data science community, staying up to date and things like that. So one good thing about, like Elizabeth said about the program is that whether you're new to data science, you don't have any programming background, whatever, the course caters to all walks of life. Whether you don't have any background in it, whether you have background in coding, you're transitioning from one field to the other, you're a student, whatever you are, the course still caters to your needs. So thank you. Let's just to end this, we have a quote that says the best way to learn data science is to what is to do data science. So thank you very much, everyone. And this is the question and answer section. So I'm going to open the floor to anyone that has any questions based off the course that we've had. If you can raise your hand, I will, call on you so that we're not a bit rowdy. Balogun, let's start with you. Balogun,
Hi, good afternoon.
good afternoon.
Thank you for the class. It was very, very educative. Yeah, so my question is that as a newbie that want to start a data science,
Mhm.
and I want to ask that what kind of laptop can someone get to start the work or something like that?
Now, for laptop specifications, specifications, one thing I would say is because you're working with a powerful programming language like Python, and Python is often built on top of Anaconda, and we use Jupyter Notebook. So let me give you an example. Let me open my Anaconda navigator for you so that you see an example with what I'm talking about. That might take a bit of time to open, so let's just be a bit patient. So I cannot give you an exact specification of laptop to use. One thing I would say is definitely find a laptop that can handle, large processing, fast processing. You want to look at the RAM of your laptop, right? You don't want a laptop that is going to be hanging every 2 seconds. I promise you, it will frustrate what you're trying to do. So let me just wait for this to open so I can show you something. Okay, you can see how long it's already taking. So now this is Jupyter Notebook, right? So let's launch it together so that we can see what it even looks like. Okay, so this is what it looks like. And we can now create a new Jupyter Notebook using the Python 3. And this is pretty much all about it. So you write your codes here. So let's imagine we want to write something very simple. We want to print hello world, and then we run this and then we see it here. So this is what our interface looks like. So having a laptop that can even power something like this is extremely important. It doesn't have to be anything major, anything fancy, but just a laptop with a good enough RAM that can power, an operating system like this, or sorry, an application like this. Do we have any other? Does anyone else have any questions? We have Victor.
Yes, I want to say something. I don't know if I'm free to go ahead.
Okay.
All right, my name is Chijoke. I must say that I mean I could feel the passion you have in seeing the things that you've said.
Thank you.
Thankfully, I've already signed up for the data science class, and I hope you'll be the one to be uh taking us on data science. I don't know. I'm just
Oh,
asking.
Say now free, you're not
You're not
supposed
the
to say
one.
change.
therapist, whose mic is that? Mute your mic if you're not speaking currently. Therapist
All
wants
right.
to
So
say
I was just saying that I've already signed up for the data science
that.
classes already,
Mhm.
and I'm hoping that I will meet you in class by the time we start. All
Yes,
right,
I'm the,
because
I'm
I
the
just like
instructor
the
for
passion.
the class. So yes,
Beautiful,
we will.
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, now my question is this: I know a little bit about Python, all
Mhm.
right, a little bit, and one of the what will I call it a snag now is when it comes to visualization.
Mhm.
Python does not really have very beautiful uh,
Visualization. Mhm.
outputs when it
Mhm.
comes to visualization. I've seen some of the visuals and they're not really fine when you compare it to the one you have in Tableau or in Power BI. Now,
Yeah.
the question is this: is there a way? Because I know when you have a task, when you have an assignment,
Mhm.
most of the time it ends in being for the people. All right. So I do not know if Python, you cannot create dashboards with Python. How are you going to, now you want to create those dashboards. Now how are you going to take whatever work you've done on the or what's it called now, on the IEA? Is it IEA now or IDA? Whatever
Your
work
ID.
you've done there, IDE, yeah, thank you very much. Now how do you sort of carry it and
Answer that.
put into another visualization tool so that the thing can come out clean and sharp? Because Python
Okay.
really
Let me
have a little
answer.
bit of disadvantage in that area. So I don't know. That's just what I wanted to find out from you.
Okay. Let me answer that.
Thank you.
Now, at the beginning of this course, I spoke on the differences between data analysis and data science. Now, the truth is that as a data scientist, you're not doing so much of data visualization. What you spoke about regarding using Power BI and Tableau, that is more of the data analysis aspect. So, as a data scientist, you're working in Jupyter Notebook to build a model. If at all you're going to be using any visualizations, it will be in your exploratory data analysis section. And you're building a visualization to help you see further into your data sets. It has nothing to do with your stakeholders. You're not presenting them with a chart, right? That is what the data analysts do. Your main work is to build a predictive model. So you're basically building a product. So if we're talking about, data visualization and all of that, that does not really concern us in data science. If we're talking about pretty dashboards and all, that's the data analyst work. So that means you need to really check if it's data analysis or data science you're trying to venture into. And for example, if you're trying to create a dashboard or all of these things for a stakeholder, definitely you will not be using Python. Like you said, the visuals are not capable or look presentable for such a work. We're using Python for something completely different. We're building predictive models. It has nothing to do with pretty visualizations you get. And that's why also when I spoke about the stack of things that we would need as a data analyst, you're definitely working with a variety of tools. And as a data professional, you should also even be able to know a variety of tools. For example, you should know Excel, SQL, Python, Power BI, Tableau. These are tools that you should know as a data professional. And then, obviously, if you're a data scientist, you'll have a core specialization with Python. If you're a data analyst, you might have a core specialization with SQL and maybe Power BI, or SQL and Tableau or Excel. And these tools are heavily predominant on the company you're working with. Because you could apply for a job and you're seeing in the job description Excel and SQL. You can see another job and you're seeing Power BI and SQL. So different companies use different tools, and that's why it's important to at least have an idea of all of these tools. But that is for data analysis. As a data scientist, your core tool again is Python. So I hope that I've been able to answer that question. Um, Nelly, Nelly Galt, you can unmute your mic and speak. Nelly,
Okay. Hello, good morning. Hello, sorry, good afternoon.
hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can.
Yeah, sorry. I found it difficult joining the link. So I just joined very late when we were already at the conclusion. Is there a way like you can run through like what you've done already for
I'm
me? Because I found it very difficult to get into this the link, this particular meeting. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Network is so bad. Can you hear me? Hello,
Yes,
can you
we
hear
can
me?
hear you. Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, I am saying that I joined the meeting very late because I found it very difficult joining the link. Like network was very bad. I joined when we were at the conclusion part. Is there a way like if we can like do like a sort of a summary of what was discussed in like today's meeting? Hmm?
So at the moment, the meeting was recorded, so you'll be able to get your stuff from the recordings at the end.
Okay,
So
okay,
just take a sec to be able to get at the end.
okay, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me, please?
Yes.
Yes, you can.
All
Yes,
right.
we can.
So is Judith still on the call?
I doubt.
Okay, she might be experiencing network issues, right? So
Yes.
here's the thing: you are. Has she attended to all questions that you have? Has she answered all questions?
No, not so, because some person's hand are still up.
All right, I'll try and reach her. But meanwhile, all right. Okay, she just reached out to me. Her internet went out. Waiting for her. But while we wait, who can quickly give a summary of what was meant today? I mean, give Nelly. Nelly, I'm not sure you are at
I
the
can
beginning.
hear you.
Yeah, but you
Yeah.
need to mute your mic, please. Please do not unmute. Mute your mic, please. All right. So, who is willing to give some sort of breakdown or a brief summary of what stood out for you, basically? Nelly, please, your mic. You need to be muted. All right. So, who can give what stood out for you so far? What was the most interesting part of this thing, of your data science class? What would you like to share with some of us, right? So, I'm taking that Shogo Wale Simi. Um,
Hello, good evening. Can you guys hear me?
yes, we can.
Okay. So the class first off was a very interactive class. I mean, I've been hearing about data science, but then Judy really broke it down, explained it, told us how it could be applied to like real life, different sectors of job, and then skills we needed to learn, and how we could use apply it, and even the salary range, how would it benefit us. So when starting from when she first told us about data science, what I learned was that data science is the whole aspect of using historical data to predict future events to assist the business so that the business doesn't end up making the same mistakes or the business doesn't lose more money. And this when we're doing this report, it's not based on hypothesis or a guessing thinking. We are taking this from fact data to make a
Yeah.
futuristic report. And then she told us there are three things when it comes to data science: the past, the machine learning, and the future. So the past involves the data you get, and then when you get your data, you clean it and everything. And then when you now build a model that will be used to get your reports, it is used futuristically.
I
Then she
can't
also
even hear
told
anything
us,
anymore. Network is very bad.
hello,
Don't
can you
worry,
guys hear me?
Nelly. Yes, we can. Don't worry, Nelly.
Okay.
You
Okay,
get.
then she also told us how data science can be applied to digital marketing, such as customer behavior, consumer demographics, how it can be applied to recommended system like Netflix, Prime. You see, there'll be
This one now.
sometimes when we are on Netflix and we just see that the app suggests this thing to us. So that's the essence of data science. It's data science that is involved. Shosho told us such as airline routine,
Mute
how
it
they
on.
get reports that before this flight leaves, maybe you already have the report that the weather is going to be bad and then flights will be cancelled. How it will also be used as a fraud and risk detection, like analyzing patterns that are unusual. Maybe there's a money missing or something, and then you can use it to detect that this is involved. And also, it can be applied to healthcare, such as helping patients get reports for futuristic prevention of disease and everything. And then she told us the skills that can be used for data science. We went to programming, statistics, machine learning, data wrangling, communication, and domain knowledge. For programming, she taught us Python, R, and Java. But then Python was like the most used and most versatile programming language that was easier, and then most people use it. And then statistics, machine learning, data wrangling, communication, and domain knowledge talks about like the business, how you actually know more about the business before you make statistical reports. And then she told us about
Wow.
salary range, getting internship, and how it will benefit us. So that is most of what I learned. Thank you very much.
Oh, see me. That was quite insightful. At a point, I'm like, that was a lot. You are giving this vibe of those students that used to stay in front of class when they go.
Thank you very much.
And when it is time for them to ask question, hey, another class has started. I wasn't even expecting this when I did see that. So it showed that you really paid attention. Thank you so much. That was
Thank you. Thank you,
very
ma'am.
insightful. Yeah. So I hope with this, yeah. And when I was saying that, when we spoke to one of our alumni, right, or our alumnus, data science, he literally had no experience at all in the world of data. Like when he hears statistics, it wasn't something that I was really so familiar with. But the enthusiasm I see you portraying now was the same thing that our alumnus had to say as well. I think it's the Judith effect, and I'm so grateful that she was able to break it down, and then it's easier for people to understand. I think the world of data is a very interesting space to be in, even in marketing as well, most especially marketing. You can't do anything without data backing it up. Even as down as our elections as well, planning anything whatsoever. Tega, please, you can take the mic now.
Thank
Oh,
you,
Judy,
Lisa. Yeah.
Judy, you needed to see your student, Shoba
No, I
Wale.
saw see you. Very nice
Hey,
one. I was so impressed.
okay.
I was so
Well
impressed.
done. Yeah, so Tega,
Well
I think before you take over, Tega wanted to give us some sort of summary of what he learned
done.
and
That's
all. So we can go back to your Q&A. Sorry for interrupting. So Tega, um,
Hello, good afternoon, everyone.
hi, good afternoon.
I would like to thank Judith for the amazing teachings. I really learned a lot. So the main thing I got from for my summary would be just to talk about the differences between data science and analytics rather. So coming into this class, I thought originally that they were more similar, but then when she broke it down that although they both work with historical data and information, that data science is more about building models as a way to predict. That's where the machine learning comes in, the use of algorithms. And for me, I always thought that we are going to see do more visualizations. We're going to use more of the Tableau. We're going to use more of the IBM. Sorry, IBM, yes. And but then as she was speaking and as she was interacting with us, I was able to like differentiate the two. So for me, that was really what I gained from the class.
All right, thank you so much, Tega. I'm glad that you're able to, know the difference because it's a common issue. A lot of people cannot differentiate between data analysis and data science. I mean, well within their rights. The word both contains data, so it might be hard to tell them apart. But like you rightly said, one deals more with forecasting and prediction, and the other one just deals with looking at historical data and just finding out what happened in the past. More of descriptive. We're just talking about what was happening in the past. Is there any other person that is yet to ask a question? I see Grace, Maureen, Toby, Simi. Is there anyone still willing to ask a question?
Yes, good afternoon.
Okay,
Can you
hi,
hear me?
Toby. Yes.
Yeah, it's been a wonderful class. I really learned a lot. So my question is actually about the program. I don't know whether I missed the part, but are we going to like take a week, or let's say, is there a particular section of the program that would use to learn Python, or just dive right in using Python?
The
Yeah.
first week of the program is Introduction to Programming, and that takes us into Python programming. So you learn high level overview of Python programming. But one thing I would say is that there also has to be that extra push from you because the course cannot teach you every single thing that you need to know. But one thing that's added there is extra materials that would help you to support what we are teaching you. So, for example, you cannot necessarily learn Python in 1 week, right? But you have materials that you can go back on or fall back on that would help you to continuously keep learning Python because this is it's a gradual process, right? It's you start from ground zero and you keep building on top of it. So obviously, if you use those materials, you will definitely get better with knowing how to write codes and using Python programming as a whole and the different functionalities of Python. So, but definitely the first week of the course covers introduction to programming and teaching you how to use Python. Do we have
Okay.
any other? Okay. Do you have any other
Okay.
questions?
Yes, I do. So, my question is based on the scheduling. Is it going to be like a boot camp sort of um learning, or is it an online video stuff?
Okay, so let me explain that. We have it's an 8 week course, and what happens is that during the week, from Monday to Friday, you have an LMS, which is pretty much like your learning management system. So you have videos that are uploaded there for you to watch and learn about whatever topic that we have that week. Now, on Saturday, there is a live class that runs for a minimum of 1 hour and a maximum of 2 hours. Now, in the live class, we go over what has been taught over the week. Because you have a case study at the end of each week, we work on that case study together. So, any questions or any setbacks that you had when you were going through the video, we discuss that in the live class. So, it's a combination of pre recorded videos and a live class, and that's how it works.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Who else has a question? I think someone else had their hand raised up.
Hello, Judith. Good afternoon. This is
Hi.
Maureen.
Hi.
Okay, so first off, the class was really interesting.
Thank you.
Very, very interesting. So, yeah, take your accolades for that.
Go ahead.
First
Thank you so
off,
much.
I'll give you your flowers. So, first off, I would want to ask you spoke about data science being it involves the use of both past
Mhm.
information to determine future predictions and all that.
Yes.
So when you spoke about using it, not the recommender system, in the fraud and risk detection system,
Mhm.
I was
Mhm.
thinking mostly you said unusual behavior that's into the banking system. Say
Mhm.
for example, you have a withdrawal limit or an expense limit on your bank account
Mhm.
for a day, and I know of course when you get to that limit, you're not allowed
Yeah.
to spend above that. I think when it gets that's above that, it now looks like fraud and an unusual behavior on your account.
Mhm.
Say, for example, you have already technically placed a benchmark on what you're going to expend for a day. That's your own security on what the bank has approved.
Yeah.
Is it possible in the case of fraud in this situation, in this incident, is it a case of the breach being broken on your account, not by you? I don't know if you understand my question.
Um, I think I'm trying to understand your question, but let's not forget that there's an aspect I spoke about domain knowledge, right? So
Uh-huh.
I cannot give you so much about the banking aspect because I don't practice data science in the financial industry, right?
Okay. Okay.
So I have very limited knowledge on that entire side. But I'm sure if you do a bit more research, you would get more answers regarding that. Do you have any other question?
Oh, yes. It's particularly both on domains, but I think I would rather just make the research because I was more interested in the banking and the health sector, of course, the healthcare, how to apply it in the healthcare. But it's
Okay.
okay because what I wanted to ask there was, predicting that somebody living in Port Harcourt could probably have inhaled a lot of suits,
Mm,
suffering from bronchitis, and then you're talking about the beginning stage, and then it gets to the higher risk where they
mhm.
have to do transplants and all that.
Yes.
So I wanted to ask if, say for example, the app data scientists usually predict what could happen in future. I think over a period of time, if you don't change your behavior, your
Mhm,
habits or behavior. So I wanted to ask if, say for example, somebody who has bronchitis, the early stages decide to migrate from Port Harcourt,
mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Um, since you've predicted, I think them moving from that location might be another pattern of treating it, preventing it ahead of time based on the prediction that was made by this data scientist. I wanted
Yeah.
to know if I understood that.
No, that's very correct because now that we've been able to predict that, okay, someone that has this particular, qualities is at the higher risk of getting, let's say, bronchitis, then they now take that next step. That's the next step that comes out of our results. So they now, basically, that's the recommendation stage. So they now take this recommendation that we have that, okay, you most likely have to move to a different city or, whatever it is. And that's basically what happens next. So based on the results that we've gotten, we now create a whole recommendation on what to do next. But that what to do next is not so much of our concern, right? Because there's a whole business aspect that deals with that. We have just told them that this is the problem, and take next steps on how to prevent it or how to solve it. Do you get?
Yes, of course I do.
Right, that's great. Thank you, Maureen. If you don't have any questions, we can move to Samuel.
Please move on to Samuel. I don't want to be greedy. I have lots of questions.
That's fine. Samuel, you can unmute your mic and speak.
Okay, thank you very much, Judith. You
You're
actually did
welcome.
well with the presentation, and I liked it. Though I joined a little bit late to this particular class. I couldn't even join the general class, but
Yeah.
I missed out on some parts, yeah, which I want to be clear on. I'm
Mm-hmm.
very much interested in joining this program, and I
Okay.
know when I saw the flyer, I saw something about scholarship on it.
Okay.
I'm also interested in it, but I think I missed the part, and maybe I've missed how to grab it in
Okay.
that part of full, yeah. So I would like to get that information. I will really be grateful if I can get. Thank
Okay.
you very much.
So regarding the scholarship part, just like Elizabeth said, we have as long as you're in this call, you have a 60% scholarship, which brings your total payments to 40,000 naira for the entire program. However, at the end of this program, we have an opportunity to get a 100% scholarship. And I said that at the end of this entire thing, I would put a link, and in that link, it's a Google form, and you have to fill it and answer some questions based off the class that we had today. And the person that can answer in the fastest time and answer all questions correctly stands a chance to get a 100% scholarship. Well, outside of the 100% scholarship, everybody in the school has a 60% scholarship for the program. So I hope that's clear, Samuel.
Yes, a bit clear, but not so clear. No, you said that everybody on the call has a 60% scholarship,
Mm-hmm.
and then but you still said it's that's that making it 40,000 naira.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think when I checked the page to register, I was seeing that the cost of it was already 40,000 naira.
The cost of it is 100,000 naira. So when you have a 60% discount, then it gets to 40,000 naira.
All right, okay. I'm just speaking because what I saw on the page was 40,000 naira already.
Okay.
Okay,
So
that's why I was curious.
that's the actual thing. It's actually 100,000, and when you get some of this discount, then it's reduced by a particular percentage. All right,
All
thank you,
right, thank
Samuel.
you.
Grace.
Sorry,
Hello,
just
good
a follow up to
afternoon.
what Samuel asked. I'm sorry, just a follow up, a quick one from what Samuel asked. Well, from excuse me. I've already signed up, but it's quite interesting to know that one can actually access the 100%. So she said that if you get the questions correctly, then you can have the 100% scholarship. I want to know, do I still qualify for that, even though I've already paid for the 40K already?
Because I'm not in the finance team, I cannot really speak much on that. But Elizabeth to be in a better position to answer that. I'm not sure she's on this call, but I will relay your question to her, and we'll get back to you regarding that. Okay. Okay, Grace.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good
I have
afternoon.
two questions, and the second one
Okay.
is a bit like a curiosity. The first one
Okay.
is, yeah, a data scientist. So, what are the challenges that a beginner data scientist can have, and how does the boot camp address like something like sometimes like imposter syndrome or not learning or laziness or like, so how do the boot camp address those issues? And my second question is, you talked about domain knowledge. So let's say in healthcare, someone who studied like a healthcare like medicine and learned data science on the side, and someone who studied statistics like like a science a course directly related to data science and learns maybe take a course on healthcare on the side, who is more like, who has more advantage when they're applying for the same job as a data science as a data scientist in a healthcare in a healthcare company. So those are my questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your question. So just hinting on the first one about imposter syndrome. Now, the truth about it is that no matter how advanced you are in the field or beginner, right, in the field, imposter syndrome is something that creeps up on everyone at different points in time. And, being able to combat it, I would definitely say draws back to just believing in yourself and knowing your capabilities or what you can do, and keep having to speak to yourself about it. It's not there's really no course that can handle that or a boot camp that can train for that. It's more of a personal thing. But one thing that will definitely keep you grounded or help you to reduce such imposter syndrome is building yourself in the knowledge of what you already have. So for example, if somebody comes to you today and says, maybe say A to Z, you already know A to Z. I mean, yes, you might start to doubt yourself, do I really know A to Z? But deep down within you, you know that you know your craft, you know your onions. So by the time you speak on it, it comes to you naturally, it starts to flow because you already have that background information, you have that knowledge of that thing. It's different if you don't even know it at all, or maybe just a fraction of it. So that imposter syndrome could, creep up on you heavily. So in order to combat something like that, try and know as much as possible. Try and have as extensive knowledge about something so that if such a thing tries to come up on you, you know that regardless of whatever it is, I know what I'm doing, right? I know my craft, I know my onions. And then, like I said, it's a mind work. You always have to keep, reminding yourself and, just staying true to yourself and not letting such thoughts creep in.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Now, to the second one, who has more, advantage? Now, the truth of the matter is that it's not so much of an advantageous situation because somebody that, does not even have any background in healthcare could even be chosen for a position in the healthcare system. Now, what happens in this kind of situation? A lot of the time, if you narrow down what industry you want to work as, you might start to do projects that are related to that industry. So let's say, for example, you chose the healthcare industry, that's where you want to specialize in with your data science. You might be somebody that has, maybe like me, a mechanical engineering background that has nothing to do with healthcare. And I can just decide that, you know what, because I want this, I want to pivot into the healthcare as a data scientist. I can start to work on projects that are more related to the healthcare industry, right? And because I'm working on projects that are related to the healthcare industry, I'm expanding my knowledge in that space. By the time we go for an interview, and because your projects are very important, your portfolio, what you have done, showing what you can do is very important. Seeing my portfolio that I have, knowledge, not just knowledge, but industry, how would I explain this? Practical knowledge on doing that, right? It would help
Yes.
me. It would put me at an advantageous position. So it's never really much about, what you studied, or because someone that could have studied healthcare could have not even passed properly. So it's not really about that. It's how you position yourself properly in the job market. So someone had a
Okay,
comment.
thank you very much. Thank you.
Please, can we move on to the personal review part? Like, could you please drop the link? When we move on to that part, we'll move on to that part. We can't rush the process, Mr. Oasis, right? Because at the end of the day, it's a timed thing. So everyone has to be on the same wavelength or the same level when we drop the link. So it's not something I can just drop and leave because it's who answers it first and who answers it correctly. So we'll move on to the next question. Chisom.
Hi, hello. I
Hi.
wanted to ask, what do you get after the program is done? Is it a certificate? Is it a diploma? What
Okay.
exactly do you get?
We have a certificate, right? An internationally recognized certificate that is issued after the program. And obviously, this is tentative on the fact that you have completed all of the case studies, the assignments, you've watched the videos. That's when it will be issued to you. So no, it's not a diploma because it's an 8-week course. I think for a diploma, you should have done about maybe a 3 months to 6 months course. I believe, I'm not very sure. But it's a certificate, so it's something that you can add to your CV or your LinkedIn just to show a certification in this particular field. Will that be all?
Thank you.
All right. Victor, Victor, did you speak already?
No, I haven't spoken.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you for a very detailed presentation. It just goes to show you have a very profound knowledge of data science, this field, and judging that you came from another field, mechanical engineering, you said, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, so that also goes to one of the questions I have. Like, would you sincerely say, or would you truly say that like 8 weeks is enough for like newbies? Like, some of us are also coming from different fields, and from the presentation you showed now, it just shows that it's the course is looking like something that is going to be really compact. And like 8 weeks, most of us work and are trying to transition into data science.
Okay.
So would you sincerely say that 8 weeks is enough to at least grasp? I know it's not going to be 100%. You can't get everything, but a reasonable amount of knowledge to say, okay, you can delve into.
Let me answer that. So 8 weeks would be just enough for you to get the fundamental idea of data science and for you to get started. Is 8 weeks enough for you to, get yourself into the job market? Most likely not, because you still need to, like I said, build projects. Your projects are what you show to your employers that you have an idea of this thing. Because you're in the tech field, no one is taking your word for it. You need to show something, right? So at the end of this program, we have a project that we're going to work on. That's just one project. You need to have several projects that show range. Let's say, for example, you're working on a classification project, you're working on a regression project, you're working on a time series, different type of projects, right? And because this program only caters to just one project, then you also have that extra time where you have to build yourself up, basically with what you have learned from the program. So is 8 weeks enough for you to learn the basics? Definitely. Is it enough for you to, say that you're job ready, job hunting? Most likely not.
Okay, so you already answered the second question, because what I was going to ask was, like, after, is it going to be after the 8 weeks you do something like a capstone project? It's going to be after these 8 weeks.
On the 8th week, we have a capstone project. So the capstone project entails everything that we have been taught up to that point, and then you use it to build a project. So that happens on the last week of the course.
Okay. So then the next one I have is you mentioned you have to brush up on your mathematics knowledge. So is it just statistics, or is there anything like calculus? You have to, or just basically statistics?
No calculus involved here. Right now, we're working on just the course actually entails a statistical chapter where we work on statistics together. It's a part of the course. So that takes into account the statistics part that you need to learn for data science. But like I said, it's not extensive enough. But it will tell you, it will show you what aspect of statistics you need to know, right? So that would help you to streamline how you will further learn down the line.
Okay, so one last one. Sorry that I'm greedy. Like for Jupiter Academy, it's called, right? Your is it company? How do I call it now? Yeah. Do you have like do you have like something like maybe at the end of the training with you guys, you like have something like a recommendation letter? Because one will start searching for jobs in this field. Is there anything like the recommendation letter that you can help people that train with you to, help?
Yes, definitely. That is also an added bonus or an added benefit to working taking the program. Definitely.
Cool.
All right. Okay, I think we've touched on everyone at this point. So, Kofo.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
So, at the beginning of the class, you talked about you being a mentor for students. So, I want to ask, does your mentorship like just for only like people that register for this course, or you can take students under like outside this program?
Okay, so my mentorship. Okay, my mentorship has nothing to do with the program. That was a personal bio about myself, right? So it has absolutely nothing to do with the program. So yes, I do take mentors from outside of the program and within the program.
Okay, so how do like someone like me go about being a mentee under you?
Okay, so that's a different discussion. It doesn't fall under this particular scope of what we're doing. So I could just leave my email in the comment section, so that if you have any follow up regarding that, you can always just reach out to me and we can go forward. So you can check the
All right.
for
Thank you
that.
very much.
You're welcome. So I'm going to end it here because we've already gone way past time. And I'm going to put the link to the assessments in our what's this thing called? The chat box, I think. Now everyone can now go in there and answer. And please don't forget that it is based off speed and accuracy. So even if you're the fastest to answer and your questions are not all correct, you will not be chosen. So this brings us to the end of the class. The winner will definitely be reached out to by the admin and the other team, right? Mine is just to facilitate this, which I have done. And thank you everyone for joining this class. I hope that we've all seen the link. And please let me know if you can access it, if it's working, so that I can end this class safely. All right, so I'll just assume that everyone is there. So, all right, everyone, have a good day, and thank you so much for joining. And we hope to, see you in our actual training class. Bye. Let me stop recording.